another fascinating Chiro and Mafia episode. Thank you. As we were talking before the recording started, like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? I was watching the movie The Irishman, and they actually have Robert De Niro playing the Irish guy. Hey, look, just because he's got blue contacts on does not make him Irish, nor can you mimic this body language. Robert De Niro, what are you doing? That's not Irish.
It's not.
No,
it did not go well. It did not go well.
But he fit in with all the other Italian guys, so that's good, which we were talking about. I'm going to pursue, hopefully getting him on this Chiro Mafia podcast, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so we'll probably spend the whole time talking about Italian traditions.
Yes.
Which would be awesome.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Philly too. Right? South Philly, man. Yes, you can't even mimic those people. I have my family there, and we go visit them, and just their conversations would be divorce on the West Coast. How they just talk to each other in an almost adoring language would be divorce in California.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get to chiropractic here. By the way, thank you, Mark, for your comment last time. He used some of our one-liners on a patient that wasn't going to commit, and now they're committed. Thank you very much. He's like, well, hyperkyphosis, it's acquired, and what your doctor didn't tell you, and and then let me ask you a question. Right, he did the full combo of what we gave him. Bang, commitment. So thanks you guys. Like this stuff is good shit here, by the way. And thanks for your love.
It is.
So what we want to talk about today are the 3 letters that are like 4-letter profanity. And what are these letters not? They're not sexy letters like new patients. NPs, right? They're the letters that people don't want to talk about. It's called P.V.A. Isn't that amazing? Patient visit average. And that's like, how are your patients really acting? So, you go to a seminar, you go, well, how's your patient education system? Oh, it's great. We give out these 6 pamphlets and people really get it. Great. How's your P.V.A? Oh, we don't really track that, or it used to be better, and la, and you hear all these things. And there's some people with great PVAs. I talked to a guy last week who's been following us, and he's like, dude, he's got 126 PVA. That's lifestyle. That's making an impact. And Joe, you have like a 300 or 400 PVA.
Yes.
So, and we certainly have a handful of people with that in Elite. However, here's what I found. The thing is, when you try and solve a problem and you build your practice with new patients, but you keep doing the same thing that you've always thought, what do they call that? When you keep doing the same thing and then you expect more people to get it on a different level, what do they call that again?
Crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely freaking crazy. That's diagnosable crazy. So, right, it's insanity. So the thing is you can build your practice with new patients. The problem is the higher the volume gets, the more new patients you have to get to try and keep it. And I was there for doing what coaches taught me to do. Ms. Jones, how's your back pain affect your life? La, 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 la. And then I found the bigger I got, the more pressure there was, the harder I had to work, because I needed more new patients.
Correct. Exactly right.
It changed.
Exactly right.
Yeah, now think about it. You saw almost 700 a day. Think about it. If you didn't have 400 PVA, how would you maintain like a 25, almost 3,000 a week practice just from new patients?
Correct. You
You would die.
You can't.
Yeah.
No, you one of the things we always talk about, and this, Fred, obviously as well. It's interesting. You talk to somebody, and they'll say, "Yeah, I see, whatever, 200 weeks. I appreciate that." And then you go, "Hey, how many new ones did you bring in this year?" And they'll be like, "Hey, I brought in 300 new ones or 400 new ones." Like, how do you bring in 400 new ones and still see the same number? So we got to get to the point where the new one isn't filling a hole that was made by somebody leaving, right? Because if not, we're running a revolving door practice. We got to make sure the new one is adding to the other one. And what Fred talked about so eloquently last time is getting believers. Like, if you're creating believers, they stay. And if they stay, then with very little effort, the new ones you bring in add to the ones that are there. If you're not creating believers, if you're not creating followers, then what happens is they're coming in under their terms. They're leaving and assigning the care they need under their terms. They leave, and guess what happens? Creates a hole. Now you're bringing in 30 new ones a month. They're just filling the holes that were left by everybody leaving, and you don't grow. And you're like, well, Jesus, you're spinning your wheels. What the hell's going on? So the PVA is a litmus test. It's not a bad number. I know we look at numbers sometimes as bad because we don't want to know the truth. We avoid the reality. But to be a good business person, you have to look at the PVA. That gives you a true test of how long people are staying. And then when you follow the systems that Fred and I teach you, what happens is then, because you have protocols and procedures, knowing your PVA could double or triple, then you could look at the protocols and procedures and work on those. If you go to your office and you're just winging it, if you're just going in and everybody's handled differently, everyone's treated differently, you're winging your recommendations to care, you don't have practice outcomes, no one's staying. You can't fix anything because you don't even know what you're doing. Everybody's different. So when you listen to Fred talk about creating believers, understand when we say believers, we're getting people that are followers, people that understand what your objective intention is on the truest level. They're going to stay. If they stay, PVA doubles or triples, the new ones are adding to the holes, your practice will skyrocket. If not, you're going to be spending the next 10 years of your life worried about your Facebook ad and your Instagram and your Google AdWords, and you're just going to be focusing on that bullshit. And then I'm not saying not never to have it. I'm saying you're going to go to bed worried about it. You're going to be checking to make sure, oh my God, how many new ones, because you're fighting to sustain a failed system, unfortunately.
Well, and also, like you talk about, well, if everyone's different, blah, blah, blah. But now there's people on here saying, well, I do my pre-consult, I do my consult, I have systems, I have structure. But your PVA is a reflection of the impression that your patients are getting. It's not your intention, because you want to create lifestyle patients. It's not what you intend. It's not your purpose, but it's showing you the impression that the patients are getting. And that's why PVA is a mindset. I mean, if you have a 30 PVA, think about it. The average person stays 30 visits versus the average person stays 100 visits. That is a different type of person. You've created a person. 100 PVA is a person with a different belief system.
Right.
And that's what I learned. I finally gave up on everything I learned in chiropractic. I had 4 coaches, blah, blah, blah. I got the PVA but the bigger my practice got, the more new patients. Finally, for 10 years, I needed 40 new patients a month just to keep my volume where it's at. And then when I started studying human behavior, man, how Tony Robbins gets, 15,000 people to walk across 2,000 degree coals and 0.5% get a few blisters. Like, that's got to be a system. So, and then how to create raving lifelong fans. So what I learned was that, number one, the decision that they make, whether or not they're going to live chiropractic, is based on their impression on day one. That is most common. Why? Because we take a condition, back pain, whatever, they associate with emotion, wires into their subconscious mind. So then what I learned was all this bullshit about give patients what they want and then tell them what they need. Give them what they want, pain relief, and tell them what they need, lifestyle. It doesn't work that way. That's not how the human brain works. It doesn't work that way. And so there's a great author. He wrote the $100 million offer, and he talks about psychology. And he says, look, you can be right or you can be rich. Meaning it's not rich. We're talking rich in your purpose. You can be right or you can be rich. This is the way humans work. You can say that what you're doing is what you need to do, but look at your P.V.A. You know, the first time I looked at my P.V.A, when I found out, it was 19. I mean, I was right out of school, 19 P.V.A. Now, does a doctor, despite your intention and philosophy, how do you think I felt with a 19 P.V.A? No, I didn't feel like shit. I hadn't gotten that far. It was total denial. There's no way that could be 19. Do the math again, 19. That's not it. Do the math again, 19. No, there's no way. You don't understand. I have purpose. I'm communicating lifestyle. Do the math again, 19. I had to do it 5 times before I said, oh my God, I have a freaking 19 P.V.A. And then I got my first coach, right? And that was you, Joe. I mean, you failed in your first practice. Like, Dad, I need another 20 grand. Yeah, kiss my ass. Get back and start cooking meals again, right?
You beat me. You beat my ass. I think I had a 2 P.V.A. I think mine was a 2. Oh my God.
Well, here's your x-rays. Okay, no thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my dad was brilliant. My dad said, hey, listen, after about 2.5 years, he said, hey, there must be some guys. I mean, what did Tony Robbins say, right? Model success. Yeah. So my dad was literally like, hey, there must be some guys out there that are doing really well in practice. Why don't you do them? There's got to be guys that teach you how to do well. Why don't you hire one of them? I mean, that was my dad, you know, runs a restaurant, and he's over there like, well, shit, you know, hire somebody that knows what they're doing and follow them, and they'll teach you how to do it. Because why would you know? You never did it. I mean, that's the challenge a lot of chiropractors have. It's that ego, and I get it, and I understand it because I was there. But you know, why would you waste years and years trying to learn it yourself when, just like any principle, there's principles on how to educate, how to lead, how to create believers, how to create followers. You follow the people that have been doing it, that teach it, that have done it, follow what they do, your practice will explode. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Yeah, I mean, you got the philosophy. And here's the thing, the mindset, first of all, and now this is going to blow your mind, patient education is already obsolete. Why? Because studying human behavior, information to their frontal lobe may or may not change their behavior. It doesn't.
Correct.
Sometimes it changes beliefs, but it really doesn't change the emotion changes beliefs. Now people know, people buy with emotion and justify with fact, but they go, Ms. Schultz, how's your back pain affecting your life? So what are you doing? You're getting a condition, you're associating it with with an emotion, you're wiring those two together, but then when the pain is gone, the emotion is gone, the patient is gone.
The patient is gone.
Exactly. Yes, because the emotion is gone. And so what you did was you solved their problem. And so people with that, a lot of times they sign them up for the first phase of care. Right. But it's rare that you're going to see that model with a person with an 80 or 100 or more P.V.A.
You're not. You and I both don't. Again, I say it humbly. There's a lot of other programs out there that really bother me. And some of them have big microphones and big followers, and I get it, but they're teaching people that 90-day related to an organ. They teach them soft tissue close, pain close. It's exactly what Fred said. You're wiring the emotion to the condition. The condition goes, the emotion goes, the pain goes. It's exactly why they leave. You have to anchor it to something bigger. Something that has nothing to do with the condition. Something has nothing to do with the pain. So when you look at guys like me, when you look at guys like Fred, you hear about these people with these insane, what might appear to be insane PVAs. It's not insane. I don't talk about symptoms. I mean, how many times can you hear fucking sciatica explain to you? Like, I want to shoot myself. Like, I never talk about sciatica. I never talk about it. You know why? And Fred, you could back me up on this. I've never met a patient in my life in 33 years of practice that had a problem talking about their fucking symptoms ever. So why the hell do I need to talk about their symptoms, right? I want to talk about something else that's going to make a difference in their life, not about the symptoms. They all they want to do is talk about symptoms. Relate that to something big, better, healthier, bigger vision. Hey, we're trying to make you have a healthier life. It's got nothing to do with your backache. And when you reposition them and create a connection to something that's much bigger, they stick around. And not only that, guess what? Their 5-year-old doesn't have sciatica. So why would they bring the 5-year-old in? If the 5-year-old doesn't have a symptom, why? Because they're bringing them in because you're connecting what you do to a healthier life, to a healthier lifestyle, to a longer life, to better quality of life. So when you anchor, they're going to stay. And they stay longer. And just like not my words, what did I learn from Sid Williams? Stay, pay, refer. They stay, pay, refer. Now you got internal resources going on. People want to stay. You create a culture, a community, and a language within your practice. Guess what happens to your PVA? It explodes.
Absolutely. You know, I have a gentleman that started working with us just a little bit ago, and he had a kind of a pain. He had a pain-based practice. Now he's moving to spinal correction and lifestyle, right? So what's the thing? So one of the tasks is he goes to look at the parents that are coming in without their kids. So he talks to this guy who's an old patient. Talks to the guy, hey man, what about your kid, 15-year-old son? And what's say? Well, my son's an athlete. He doesn't have back pain. He doesn't have sciatica. Now that you mentioned sciatica, and he doesn't have that. So why, I'm not going to bring him in. And so the whole thing, I was like, well, that must be an old patient who's coming to you for pain. And he's like, yes, that's why they don't bring their kids. And so we went through this last time. If you're going to challenge their beliefs, 3 principles: what they didn't know. They didn't know the spine and nervous system was foundational health, life of the body. What their other healthcare providers didn't tell them. That when you're subluxated, it shuts the energy down and causes disease. So when your doc gave you that asthma inhaler, he didn't talk to you about your lower neck, your neck and your upper back trauma that breaks the nerves down. He didn't tell you that. Now, why do you say that? Here's a gig. Last time I saw, over 85% of people don't write their goals down, let alone read them. You're in the single digits. That means basically 9 out of 10 people that walk in your office don't know what they want. But 100% of those know exactly what they don't want. And that's in life coaching. To help people find what they want, they have to know what they don't want first. So what do you tell them? Hey, here's what you didn't know. Here's what your other doctors didn't tell you. And here's what you didn't take care of your whole life. That way, if they say, well, I don't want these health problems anymore, then there's only one question. And Joe, you do this better than anybody, because if chiropractic's a lifestyle, there's only one thing we're focused on. How do you want to live the rest of your life? I see, here's how you live your life so far. Here's where it got you. How do you want to live the rest of your life and take care of the health of you and your family from this moment forward?
Exactly.
That's the lifestyle question that you should ask everybody on day one. Now, when they know what they don't want, chiropractic lifestyle is there's only one answer. They can't look anywhere else.
Correct.
So we got a boot camp coming up, day 1, day 2. We're going to show people how the end of day 1 that you can say, can you see how chiropractic is a healthcare lifestyle? And you will get agreement from every patient. And then say, so based on that, how do you want to live the rest of your life? What do you want your health to be like for you and your family for the rest of your life? Well, I want to be healthy. Well, then would you agree you have to get healthy so you can live healthy? I mean, if you just did those 3 things on day 1, you already got them in a lifestyle right from the beginning. They're not going to care about their sciatica.
Exactly. You're creating a conversation that's going to lead you to lifetime care. That's what, if you create a conversation, you're going to close them with what you make important, right? You're going to close them with what you lead them to. You're going to close them with what you sell them with, right? And so if I'm just sitting there talking about symptom, and justifying my existence on symptom, all I'm going to do is talk symptom. But if I'm talking about, hey, listen, this is going to change the rest of your life. How do you want to live the rest of your life? I want to live it great. Exactly. Are you healthy? Are you great now? No. Did what you did before, is that been working for you? No. Would you agree you got to do something different? Yeah. This is it. Let's go.
It's not that hard, right?
It's not
hard. It's like that your title becomes the problem. Meaning like your doctor title gets in your way, because then you think you got to give him information. Trust me, when Joe's talking to a patient, he's not being, they may call him Dr. Joe, but he's being Joe. Exactly. He's being Joe, man. I remember when I said, I'm going to stop being Dr. Fred and I'm just going to be Fred. And then I started talking to him like Joe talks his patients. So what do you want to do? How do you want to live? Geez, why don't you tell me? What are y'all hung up on? What is it you don't understand? Let's get this cleared up so you get your family healthy.
Exactly. What is it that you don't understand? That is such a great question to ask people. Because if they say, yeah, no, I'm going to think about it, whatever. Listen, I can appreciate that. I wouldn't want you to commit to something if you didn't fully understand. So then could you keep the conversation going? So what is it that you don't understand? What additional information do you need? What is it that you don't understand? It's such a great question.
Yeah,
because they obviously don't understand something.
Yeah, what are you hung up on? What thought is going through your mind that is creating a barrier from living an amazing life? Just let's talk about that.
Exactly.
Now, some people, and this is the thing, like sometimes people need a pattern interruption where you have to ask them an uncomfortable question. And, we teach you how to do this in a loving way. But Joe, you know this because the more people know you love them and you care about them right from the minute you shake their hand, it gives you a lot of latitude on how you address objections.
Exactly.
Because they know you love them.
Yeah, a lot of physical anchoring, touching them on the shoulder, touching them on the hand, and letting them know, like before you ask the hard question, you know what, Fred, listen, I love you and I appreciate you, but I got to ask you this, that gives you the door, that gives you the permission. Hey, Fred, I love you. I care about you, but I got to ask you a tough question. Like, how do you want to live the rest of your life? And listen, you talk about maybe leaving and not doing anything. If you do nothing, what's going to happen? I'm going to get worse. So what's the worst thing you could do? Nothing. So would you agree doing something is better than doing nothing? Yeah. Let's figure out what that is. Because how do you want to live the rest of your life? Hey, Dr. Borio, we just bought a house and our mortgage payment is going to really get difficult with making payments here. I appreciate that. I get that. Let me ask you, did your house come with a handicap ramp? Because you're going to need it. You know what I mean? Like, you're worried about a house and how pretty your house is. How much can you enjoy your life if you can't walk? How much are you going to enjoy your life when you got a colostomy bag? How much are you going to enjoy your life when you're sick and diseased on some kind of breathing apparatus? Like, that's the stakes we're talking about. They did a great study and they were evaluating people, and I'll post it on the page. But they were talking about people under medical chronic conditions now, not acute. Chronic conditions, medical treatment. Chronic conditions, medical treatment. 5 years, everybody was worse. Most people doing no medical intervention at all, same group of, if you will, diseases, doing no medical intervention at all, were all better than the group that tried to treat it with medicine. And what's disgusting is if you look at the majority of research, medicine hasn't fared far better than the average person taking a walk. whether it's a depression, anxiety, whether it's some kind of other disease. So when you look at what you're doing to the nervous system, when you look at what you're doing to the structure, to the posture, to the biomechanics of the human body and how it affects the neurology, the physiology, the pressure on the joints, how it affects the longevity of the human being each and every time, that's what you're doing. That's the role that you have involved in taking care of these people. That's the role that you have in their life. That's the responsibility that you have in your life. Every time you touch them, every time you talk to them, every time you adjust them, it's that we're talking about. So when people will drive to your office and pay you money for that forever, they're not going to drive to your office and pay you money to take care of sciatica if you only made it about sciatica, because as soon as that's gone, it's a value transfer, and they're going to go up to the counter and go, hey, I'm paying $50, $50. Well, shit, I ain't going to pay $50. It's not worth $50 anymore because I feel good now. So they're going to stop. So you got to make it about something huge where they're like, I got to be honest with you. I feel like I'm ripping this guy off because I'm only paying $50 in order to have a better life.
Absolutely. So now what he said was key. So, and you guys know that people do worse under medical care than if they did nothing at all, right? So for a person to believe that spine and nervous system is foundation and live the chiropractic lifestyle, that means they don't use medicine. They only go to medical doctors when they have trauma, right? Like I tore my ACL. I needed to take a ligament out of my patellar tendon, sew it into a new ACL, and screw that thing in there. Yeah, I'm not going to a chiropractor for that. But then I haven't been back to an MD since, right? So what's that mean? You are their primary healthcare provider, and I know you get that. But when they see it, they don't use MDs. So the question is, if you look at, do they believe they come to you for their spine and they go to an MD for health problems? That's a belief system. That's why right from day one, here's what your healthcare providers didn't tell you. Here's why you ended up like this. Here's what you didn't do because of what you didn't know, and they didn't tell you. Now, what are they going to do? Forget those guys, man. I'm going over here. That's chiropractic lifestyle. That's 100 plus P.V.A. And we start that right from day one. Now, for you people that have any questions, I'm going to unblur my screen here. I actually wrote a book. It's called The Best Kept Secret to Heal Your Back Pain. It's not about back pain, but it's written for the general public. And it goes through high-level medical research. It tells a story where when you read that book, it will strengthen your conviction on chiropractic principle. It talks about posture and the relationship to health. And you're going to read what MDs know more about chiropractic than what a lot of chiropractors are preaching out there. Shit, half chiropractors are talking like an MD, and medical research is talking chiropractic principle. So go to Elite Coaching, get that book. If you're a doctor, now this has my picture on it, but if you go to Elite Coaching, it's called Back to Health. So you don't have to promote me. Get that book, read it, let your team read it, and then give it to patients. Because the elite docs that are using that book are getting lifetime referrals. Tell them, hey, take this home, give it on day 2, read it with your wife. And the wife's coming in ready. Okay, I'm ready. I need to fix my spine. I understand this is a healthcare system. That's why we wrote it.
Exactly.
So anyway, you got to get them where, no, they say, no, I'm done using medicine. So the way human behavior works, it's like holding a bowling ball. Hey, this is my reality. I use MDs for healthcare. They got to put that one down. They have to say no to this one, so you can hand them the chiropractic bowling ball and say yes to this one. That's why you say, here's what your doctor didn't tell you. Here's what you didn't know. Here's what you didn't take care of. And that's why after 46 years, you're showing up with 18 different health problems.
Exactly. We got to get them to understand that drugs and surgery have a place, but they're not healthcare. It's crisis care. That's not healthcare. That's crisis care. What you do as a chiropractor is healthcare. What they do is crisis care. If you try to use crisis care for healthcare, they get sicker, die, and diseased.
They end up in
And
a
that's
crisis.
not me saying it. Say that?
You use crisis care for healthcare, you end up in a crisis.
Right, exactly.
It's like, think about it. Now, I know you guys are saying this. I know we call it crisis care, and I'm saying this to my patients. That's information. Did you change their belief systems? That's what you didn't know, what they didn't tell you, and what you didn't do.
Exactly.
So how do you want to live the rest of your life? There's only one question. Every patient only has one problem. And Joe, you've mastered this, and that is you didn't live a chiropractic lifestyle. Well, what symptoms are you going to show up with? Who cares? You didn't live a chiropractic lifestyle. I don't care if you don't have any symptoms. Let's see what your spine looks like.
Exactly.
So,
you know, one way to reposition them on healthcare, disease care, crisis care, we always ask people, or, you know, I say always, you know, when you have that moment, and I'll say, listen, if you have migraines and your husband doesn't, and you're on migraine medication because of these bad migraines, and I say, hey, you know what? We'll get your husband to take it too, because he doesn't have any migraines. Is it good or healthy for him to take migraine medication? No. Why? It's going to make him sick. Right. What's it going to do for you? Even if it helps you with your migraines, you don't have migraines because you're deficient in the medication, right? You have it because it's an indication something is deficient, something's not being properly expressed, something is wrong inside your body. And, you know, asking them the question to get them to say, yeah, it's not good for the. So would you agree that's true with anything? Like if I have a bad knee and I take Advil, does it just go to my knee? Do you put a GPS locator on it and you go, hey, go to my knee only? No, where's it go? So what's it doing to your other knee? What's it doing to your liver? What's it doing to your kidney? What's it doing to your brain? You know, so trying to ask them questions to get them to realize, like, wow, that doesn't make sense. That's not good for me. Yeah. What would be better? You know, how can we make your body stronger? How can we make your body healthier? Asking them the appropriate questions to get them there, to lead them there, to drive their belief system there, to create a follower there. Now you're creating people that think on their feet. Now they look at other people and they become warriors for you. Wow, you're still pumping that drug in you? Yeah, listen, you ought to go see this guy. He's going to do something different. He's going to change how you think. He's going to change how you feel. He's going to change how you function. This guy's going to make a big difference in your life.
Live. You know, and to simplify your whole story into one sense, because that reminds me when I talk to you, you know, I think about, yeah, we used to say that. I would say, if you were healthy and you took a drug, what would happen? They go, make you sick. Then how, when you're sick, can a drug make you healthy?
Exactly.
They're like, massive pattern interruption. And you know, it's funny because when I got people in lifestyle like you, Joe, you know, I started about whatever. Then I started looking at their subjective complaints at a re-exam, and we were looking at improvement in organ problems and all that. And then so I started doing this, but I already had people on lifestyle. And then I'm looking, you know, they would evaluate their back pain, and I would go, wow, you still have back pain? I didn't even know, because we never talk about it, right? I mean, they're not debilitating, but they're like, yeah, doc, it's not that bad. It's getting better, but doc, my allergies is better. Doc, my energy is amazing. Doc, my life's different. Doc, my family loves coming here. And I'm like, I never knew your back still hurt. And they'd be like, yeah, we don't care. It's getting better. Don't worry about it, Dr. Fred. It's okay. Like, they didn't even want, it wasn't even a concern.
Exactly.
They don't care when they buy lifestyle. They don't care. Now, they're not debilitating, but maybe they get a little bit here and there, right?
Sure.
But that's their
exactly. Buy lifestyle. Buy lifestyle.
They're investing in their life.
Exactly.
They're even not buying anything. They're investing in their life, just the way they invest in their kids. They invest in their home. They invest in their job. Heck, their car payments are more than they're going to pay you a month, right?
Correct.
The average car payment is like $800 to $1,300 a month for a car payment. Could they pay $1,000 a month for the best healthcare system of their life for their family?
Exactly.
So there you go. So anyway,
I remember being a kid. And I looked at a Range Rover. It was in a mall. Remember I don't know if they still do that. They had a car in a mall with a sticker on it. I was probably 9 years old. And I remember looking with my dad, and it was $17,000 for the Range Rover. And I remember my dad looking at my mother saying, "Hey, Judy, come here." And she says, "What?" He goes, "Look, 17,000." He goes, "That's as much as I paid for the house and the lot."
Yeah.
Is that amazing? It's amazing.
In
You know,
Syracuse.
yeah. The investment, it shows the value. When you look at people that are really healthy and they have a great life, where do you think they're putting their money is my point. Where do you think they're making, like Fred's saying, where are they investing? They're investing in their health. They're investing in their future. They're investing in investments, if you will, equities, real estate, their practice, things that are going to give them a better life from a financial standpoint as well. It's not an accident when you look at 20 people and they're really healthy, they live a long time and they look great. That ain't an accident. They didn't roll out of bed looking like that. They took good care of themselves. So they invested.
So yeah, we'll wrap this up. One thing, hey, we have a perfect lifestyle practice boot camps coming up. Day 1, day 2, December 3rd, Salt Lake City. We're going to show you how to get people right to saying chiropractic is a healthcare lifestyle right on day 1. So go to elitecoachingllc.com, set up time for a discovery call, because you have to apply to get in there. And then, Joe, I think you have a seminar coming up in Florida in November, right?
Yeah, well, next weekend, November 3rd and 4th in Fort Lauderdale. Just check us out on Chiropractic Consulting.
Yeah, awesome. And we have stuff all year long. We do have a limited amount of experiences that you can attend. So, man, you want to get on them. You want to get to a lifestyle mindset that fast. And it's time, man. People are losing faith in medicine. They're losing faith in the pharmaceutical companies. They're looking for you. So we need to create messengers, not patients. Correct. We need to create leaders and messengers.
Exactly.
Patients, so they build your practice for you.
Exactly right. Disciples, baby.
All
and
right.
Don't get discouraged. Jesus only had 12, and one of them had him killed. You know what I mean? So, and look where Christ is, Christianity is. So you just need 11 good sons of bitches, and you can change the world, man.
Yeah, you do. All right, and they'll probably be Italian, so that's another great thing. So
goes without saying, man. Goes without saying.
Yeah, because they talk about everything, man. They talk to everybody about everything, and in loud volume.
Exactly.
All right, love you guys. Don't be surprised if Robert Tenero's on here as a guest coming up in Chiro Mafia.
Love you. We got some good guests coming up here pretty quick. So
yeah,
we'll
see you soon. Peace.